So good morning to one and all, to all our viewers. Very first of all, I would like to say sorry to each and everyone who have been waiting for us. There was some technical issues from our end because of which we are a bit late for today's show. But let's start with today's show. For today's show with us, we have Dr. Devarshi Pallavi Bhatt ma'am, and we'll be talking today on the topic of cyber security on the topic of cyber security, a need of cyber security today and tomorrow. Myself, Shivang Sharma, and my co-host Sneha Kamalpuria welcomes you to the episode number 23 of IT Talks. So proceeding ahead with the show, and before starting with the discussion of what basically cybersecurity is, how it actually works, what are its pros, cons, challenges, and how people are facing it, let me first introduce you all to our honorable guest for today. Today with us we have Dr. Devarshi Pallavi Bhatt ma'am. She is MCA MTech Gold Medalist, PhD Computer Science Associate Professor, and HOD of Computer Department of Computer Applications, Manipal University, Jaipur, with 14 years of experience, senior member of IEEE, professional member of ACM, and CSI, certified ethical hacker, certified EC Council security specialist, ECSS, certified EC Council instructor. Presently, she is working as an associate professor and head in Department of Computer Applications, Manipal University, Jaipur, as previously mentioned, from July 2016. Previously, she has worked with reputed institutes like Banasthali Vidyapeeth, Nivai, Tonk, Pune University, Pune, Punjab Technical University for last 14 years. Talking about the awards she has received the award of Best Researcher awarded by Institute of Technical and Scientific Research for doing good quality research publications, शिक्षक साहित्यकारी सम्मान by Rajasthan Lekhika Sahitya Sansthan, Pratibha Samman and Shodh Shastri Samman Tailom Kulam in for doing PhD in wireless sensor and networks. One PhD in computer science and engineering has been awarded under her guidance, supervising 4 PhD scholars in Manipal University, Jaipur, in the area of IoT, information and network security, image and video forensics, and augmented reality. Published around 25 national and international research publications, journals, and conferences of the repute. Acted as a keynote and a guest speaker in various platforms, national and international, including Bureau of Indian Standards Conference. Presented in reputed platforms in India and abroad, including NITs, IITs. She is an expert committee member of RPSC also. Working on children's safety systems using IoT, funded by Manipal University, Jaipur. She has completed a 2-year research project as a principal investigator on wireless LAN security, funded by the Pune University. That's just a small glimpse of what actually ma'am has achieved over the period of time, and we are very glad to have ma'am with us. So very first of all, ma'am, we welcome you with a very warm welcome to our show, and we thank you for giving us your precious time, and you have came all the way to share your knowledge with us.
Thank you, Shivang, for inviting me. And good morning, one and all present here who are listening me live. And please accept my apologies. This is a technical world, and we have some technical glitches sometimes. So accept my apologies for the delay. And I thank
Sure.
Shri Sunil Raneji, Trustee, Atharva Group of Institutes, Dr. R.G. Ratnawatji, Director, AIMS, and Dr. Shubhilal Agrawal, who is the Director, IQAC AIMS. So now over to Shivang. We can go ahead and we can start our session of
Sure,
today.
ma'am, sure. So as previously mentioned that today our topic is on need of cyber security for today and tomorrow. So before starting, what is the need of cyber security? How much is it important? Because I basically, if we talk about not only about cyber security, but if we talk about IT, it has become one fifth major component of a human's life. Previously in our schools, we were being taught that for a person there are four basic requirements: air, food, clothes, and shelter. But now I guess IT is one of the most important things. So before starting with
Yes.
what actually this cyber security is and how what is the need, I would request you to put some light on what actually cyber security means. What are its components and what actually does it means?
Yeah, true. So thank you for this question. Yes, this is a key question of today's world. The way we are working today, how are we working, and where are we working are changing. So the modern world is a danger cyber world for the innocent now, and cyber experts are needed more than ever. So to understand what is cyber, so it is related to any characteristics of the culture of computers. It may be information technology and virtual reality. So these are all our cyber world. The hardware and the software, the combination of hardware and software which we are using, and when we are not working on the standalone system, then we call it a cyber. And the cyber security is the body of technologies which is the combination of processes, practices, and which are designed to protect the network and to protect the computer programs and data from attack or damage of unauthorized access. So this is in cracks time cyber security, and it is made of two words. One is cyber and another is security.
Okay, ma'am. So, as you briefly just explained us what is cyber and what is security, I would like you to show some light on what is the difference between information security and cyber security.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the question from my students also. They always ask whenever I teach them the cyber security, what is the difference between network security, information security, cyber security? Yes, this is a very nice question. Information security is all about protecting the information, which generally focuses on confidentiality, integrity, and availability, which we abbreviation we call it as CIA of the information, right? So this is that. And then cybersecurity is that is information security. And what is cybersecurity? It is about securing the things that are vulnerable through information and communication technologies. So that is the hardware and software, and that is also called as, in general, it is called an ICT. And when we call it talk about cybersecurity, then it is called as ICT security. And it also considered that where the data is stored and the technology used are secure. So that is what is cybersecurity and information security. In cybersecurity contains information security in it.
Surely, ma'am. So, ma'am, as we talk about the different like cybersecurity, as it's a very vast field, so it has its need in each and every sector. If we talk about industrial sector, what is the industry need of cybersecurity, ma'am?
See, the industry need, when we talk about industry, may be anything, right? It may be the educational industry, it may be the financial sector. So, evolution of technology focuses on ease of use. We are making the things easy for the user to use it, right? And decreasing skill needed for the exploit, it is needed the decreasing skills. So if we are enhancing the skill set, then there is an industry need of cybersecurity, and it increased with the when we are enhancing the network environment, we are enhancing the network based applications. So there is a direct impact of the security breach on the corporate assets and their goodwill also. Sometimes we see that a very established organization or the industry, because of one attack, and their goodwill goes down. So this increasing complexity of the computer infrastructure, administration and management needs to be controlled, and there is a huge need of cybersecurity and information security in the industry in today's scenario when we are going digital in every sector.
Very true, ma'am. It is also a very vast subject to talk upon. So, just for the basic knowledge, what are the basic elements of security?
Yes, this see elements of security are, first of all, if I am saying that this information needs to be secured, that means that should be confidential. This should be meant for me as a sender, and the receiver is who is sitting at the other end. It is meant for them, right? It is not for anybody else, because my data is traveling from the internet and it is going through anywhere, right? I'm not aware of, even because it is not a shorter distance. Sometimes I'm sitting in India and somebody else is sitting in US, right? So I'm not aware where my data is going, right? So confidentiality is one, when I want my data to be between me and the other person who is intended to see that data. The second element of security is integrity. That means if somebody is some hacker has stealing that data also, but then also it is not in the plain text form in which the other person can see it like that only. So it should be the integrity should be maintained. The person cannot tamper that data or cannot make the changes in my data. So the way I have sent that data, it should be available to the other person in the same way. The third thing is when I'm storing the data in or I'm storing some information somewhere, so it should be available at any point of time to me. For example, if I have stored my data in Gmail, I have in the midnight, if I have some work, I should be available to me. It is not that it should be available only to me from 9 to 5, right? So this is the third element, availability. Then comes your authenticity. That means how would you know that I am the person who is sending the data? This is Devarshi Pallavi Bhatt only who is sending the data, sending the information to you. So there are some authenticity should be there, like the user ID and password should be there, or there should be some biometric face recognition, thumb impression recognition. So like that, there should be authenticity of the person who is sending it, and non-repudiation. If I have committed some crime or somebody else has committed some crime and from their account, and they cannot deny that, right? So they cannot deny that I have not done it, and this has been done by mistake, so they have to take the responsibility of the thing. So this is what is the fifth element of the security. So confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation are the elements of security.
Sure, ma'am. So as you mentioned that these are the elements of security, there are also three things which those are not elements, but those are three things which we generally hear when the word comes about when there's a talk about cyber security, and that's vulnerability, threats, and exploits. So I would request you to put some light on what is the difference between vulnerability, threats, and exploit.
Yeah, this is very nice question, because there is very thin line among these terms. You said vulnerability, threats, and exploit, right?
Exploit.
Yeah, exploit. So vulnerability is the existing of weakness. For example, if I'm sitting in a room and one can enter my room through the door, or maybe through the window. These are two ways from where the person can enter my room, right? So there are when we talk about the vulnerability, so that is the weakness. If I'm not protecting my door and window, then any unauthorized person can access my room. Same way, if I am saying computer, so there is an existence of weakness in design or implementation error that can lead to an unexpected and undesirable event, and then the compromising of the security can happen. So that is what is the vulnerability, when there is a existence of the weakness, and there that can happen, that may lead to some unexpected and undesirable event, right? The second one is the threat,
Threats.
right? So threat is an action or event that might compromise my security, and threat is a potential violation of the security. That means something has happened, there is a threat. For example, uh, there is reiki is happening when somebody some thief is going to do his part of action, right? So he's doing the reiki, so that is what is the threat. I'm so sorry, this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is going on around me, so you may be hearing some voice behind me, right? So threat is an action or event that might compromise the security, right? The third one is the exploit, or we can before exploit we have the attack, right? So an attack is an attempt to destroy, expose, alter, or desirable steal or gain unauthorized access to make the unauthorized use of the asset. So that is what an attack, that action has taken place. And the last one is exploit, which is a defined way to breach the security of an IT through the vulnerability. So it starts from vulnerability, then it leads to the exploit. So that is what is these terms are.
Very true, ma'am. You just explained us every single aspect of the basic of cybersecurity, and as we all know that Earlier it was not this much, but now people are more aware about cyber security and the cyber attacks. But still, after putting all the security measures, still there are many cyber attacks till date. So what are the basic reasons of these cyber attacks, and what are the motives of those attackers?
Yeah, so this is also a very relevant question in today's scenario when people are doing it deliberately and they're enjoying doing it. And there we hear news and we read in the newspapers also, there are engineers, there are so educated people who are doing their stuff, and they belong to very good uh, their good family background, but then also they are doing this kind of stuff. So what is the intention behind the cyber attacker who is pursuing this kind of actions? So there may be political, economic, and socio-cultural the reasons of the cyber attack, right? And these attackers can be they may be generally the insiders of an organization, and they have taken without any malicious or harmful intent. The first one is they may be insider, and there may be the deliberate actions and by the insider also, and there may be the outsider that has taken the intentionally and meant to harm it. And the third one is general inaction. Inaction means such as a failure of act in a given situation, and either because of the lack of the appropriate skills. For example, some employees are working and they are not aware of the security measures to be taken care of while they're working, right? So in that case, because of their inaction or their lack of skills or knowledge or guidance maybe, so there may compromise their information, right? So there may be the motives of political means, example, it includes destroying or disruption of and taking control of some targets, and making the political statements and protests, like now nowadays the cyber wars are happening. There are not the physical wars which are happening in the border, but the cyber war, that maybe that can be done sitting at their places only, right? So the first one is the political motives. The second one we have discussed is the economic motives. So economic motives is generally we do so, this is example of somebody wants to gain some funds or credits or money or some information, right? And to uh, to blackmail or something like we have heard about the ransomware attack. So this is for the financial gain, right? The third one is then the socio-cultural motives. So example include the attacks with the psychological or theological and political, even humanitarian goals also. For example, if some girl has done something wrong with a guy, and the guy is doing some stuffs against her, right? And it may be because of the fun, because of the curiosity, they want to know that whether they can do it or not, they are able to do it or not, they to check their knowledge. So this is for ego satisfaction and that kind of stuffs also. So these are some kind of motives: the socio-economic, economic, cultural motives, and political motives.
Sure, ma'am. So as you mentioned that these are different type of motives of the attacker. There are also very pretty common types of cyber attack that happen. There are n number of types of cyber attacks that happen, but there are pretty common which happen to a very common person, on a day to day life also. So I would request you to tell us what are some types of common cyber attacks, ma'am.
Okay, so the common cyber attacks which we hear around us are the malwares, which is the malicious software which is installed in your system by clicking on some link or through some mail or something. So that may happen, the malware. Then phishing means if you are working on, say, SBI website, and the similar kind of looking website is coming in front of you, but you are not aware of every pixel of your the legitimate or the actual website of SBI. Then in the impression of that this is a true website and this is the real website, you can just typing your ID and password into it, and that will be compromised. So phishing is again, it is happening uh, with many people who are educated also, because the similar kind of replicating websites are developed to fetch the password and user information out of it. This is one of them. And then the password attacks. So password, I have kept my password as, say for example, my husband's name, my child's name, or my date of birth maybe, right? So this kind of stuffs can be easily guessable, right? So if this kind of passwords we are keeping, then there may be the password attack also. There can be guessed very easily. Then the denial of service attack, which is happening around us with the by the competitors. So some organization, for example Flipkart, I should not take the name of something, but some e-commerce website, and some other e-commerce website is a competitor, right? So one e-commerce website may block their legitimate users to access that for 1 hour, for example, and it is the Diwali occasion in which the every hour sale is going to crores, right? So in that point of time, if somebody is doing this kind of stuff and denying the service of the legitimate users, then it will be a huge loss for that organization, and there will be a gain for them in that respect. So that is also one of the common cyber attack, a DOS attack, which is the denial of service, and it is distributed denial of service also sometimes. Then man in the middle attack. So what is man in the middle attack? When one person is sending the information to another person, and in between some attacker is fetching that information and doing actively or passively, right, and doing using that information against them. So these are some common kind of attacks which are the common cyber attacks which are happening around us, and we are not aware of them sometimes, and when we realize, the loss has already happened.
Sure, ma'am. So, ma'am, before proceeding ahead with with our question set, there are a few comments over here. So, Shubhi ma'am has said that availability is cause of accidents. Throw some light on awareness on maintaining secret transactions through personal Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So when we are doing the secret transactions through personal Wi-Fi, then our personal Wi-Fi should always be password protected first of all, right? Sometimes we open the hotspot and anybody can just click on it and he can use it. So when we are doing this stuff, then anybody can access our information, right? Because we are in the impression of that we are accessing our personal Wi-Fi, and but the other person can access that because it is a wireless communication, and till this geographical area the range is going, anybody can access that if we are not protecting it, right? So it should be password protected first of all, and there should be encryption. When we are sending the sensitive information, it should not be sent in the plain text format. It should always be cipher text, which is converted into by using some encryption algorithms, right? And when we see the HTTPS and HTTP, there is a difference between HTTPS and HTTP. So what is the difference? It is using the secure socket layer. That means it is encrypting the data when we are sending it on the network. So anybody, if even if he is stealing my information, he'll not be able to understand that information what I have sent, because I have used an encryption. And then we need to be careful about the social attacks. Social attack is somebody sitting near to me, because he sits near to me in my office, this premises, and when I'm typing my password, he's peeping into my keyboard, and he has just seen that what I'm typing as a password, and then later on he can misuse that. And if I have left my computer unattended and without locking it, somebody else can access it. So this is how we can protect our personal Wi-Fi. Personal Wi-Fi can be protected with the help of the passwords, with the help of the encryption algorithm to be used.
Sure, ma'am. And also, there is one more question that can you explain phishing attacks in detail, ma'am?
Yes, so phishing attacks are it is a confusing attack, right? So we can call it as in general language, we can call it as the confusing attack. Confusing attack means I am in the impression of we are using the legitimate website, but I am not using it, right? And by mistake, I am entering my information into the bogus website. So phishing is a type of social engineering attack only. It is also called as a social engineering. Social engineering, as I just told you, that and beside me somebody else is peeping into my keyboard and seeing my password. So the same way, the phishing can happen when somebody is uh, want to steal my data, steal my credentials, steal my credit card numbers, and for that they are creating some environment which is looking like a familiar environment to me, right? And I'm entering my information into it, and that will be compromised, right? So we should always be careful whether we are using or not the right website or correct website or not. We need to check that. We need to see, we need to make sure that, right? So we should always look for, when we are doing the financial transaction or some kind of stuffs where our user personal information is being shared, like Facebook, right? So we should always look for the https website, right? And https website can be easily understood by seeing the lock symbol at the left hand side when we of your address bar, and you can easily see that it is secured. And when you are clicking on that lock, no, it will show you the ssl license and certificate. So you will be assured then this is the secure website. So this is how you can be sure. And there are two types of phishing: whaling, spear phishing. Different type of phishings are there. Email phishing, like with the name of your friend, with minor change in the spelling or something, you are receiving a mail, right? And you are in the impression of your friend has sent you, and that the relevance of that communication is also seems like your friend is only, because they may be peeping into your conversation between you and your friend, right? So they are sending and shooting some kind of mail, and in the impression of that your friend has sent that information and it's required some information, you are sharing that information with them. So again, your information will be compromised because you have not checked whether that email id has some change in the spelling or not, or you have not make, like it has happened with me also. I have received one mail and stating that it is from HDFC Bank, and I have my loan account in HDFC Bank. And then it was stating that for reducing your rate of interest, kindly provide this information. Click on this link, and you just need to pay 1100 bucks, and then your rate of interest will be reduced. And I was happy about it. Obviously, I was very happy because it was from 7.5 to 6.5, so it was a huge gain for me. So in that impression, I was about to click on that link, but I thought that I need to check whether it is legitimate, so from the legitimate source or not. So I just called the customer care representative, and then I asked, have you sent from your bank, have you sent some kind of rate of interest reduction in my account? So they said no, they have not sent it this kind of any stuff. So then I have stopped myself by clicking on that link and paying 1100 bucks, because it would not have been only 1100 bucks in that case. It would have been more loss to me. So this kind of scenarios are the phishing examples. So you should always be careful that the links, the emails, the websites, they are from the legitimate source. Make sure, and then only you just enter your information, which is or credentials, which are very important and very confidential. So I hope I was able to clear the phishing to the
Yes,
listeners.
ma'am, you very well explained the phishing attack, and I hope the question was answered properly. And moving forward, ma'am, we have heard about system-based attacks, but we don't know much about it. So, can you throw some light on what are system-based attacks?
Yeah. So system based attacks are virus, worms, Trojan horse, bots, backdoor. So these kind of attacks are system based. That means in my system, some malicious software is installed, and this is accessing some information or harming my computer. So these are the system based attack which are inside my system, and that are not replicating into the network, but they are harmful for my system only. right? So virus is one of them, which is very commonly we listen to it. So we should always scan the pen drives and other CD drives always when we are using in our system. And there should be always antivirus software is installed, should be installed in your system whenever you are using any you are accessing internet. So you should be careful, and then you can be protected against the system based attack. And you should always update your antivirus also time to time. So it should be internet, through the internet, updatable. It is not the standalone only when you need to, I mean, buy a one virus antivirus software, and then after 1 year only, when the license expires, you are updating it. Then there will be updation in the viruses, and that will be installed inside it, because your antivirus will not be able to fight with that kind of virus, because it is newly generated, right? So you should always update it, because the antivirus companies always update according to the virus, which the upcoming new virus, right? So you should always update your system. You should always update your uh, softwares and information. So these are the system based attacks, which are standalone for the systems and for small network.
Sure, ma'am. So, ma'am, as previously mentioned, we were talking about different types of threat. I'm pretty much sure there must be there are different types and different categories of threats. But I would like to understand what are external and what are internal threats, because every system has its internal threats also. External तो चलो ठीक है हम बाहर से जो कर रहे, but there are also internal threats to a system. So what is the difference between an internal what are the different internal threats and external threats?
Yeah, so see, internal and external is not inside your system or outside your system. These are the attackers who are residing in within your organization are the internal threats or internal attackers. So threats from the unauthorized access, sorry, authorized access is the internal threat, and from the say the some former or current employer or some contractor, right? So from the internal employee or internal colleague or internal friend, when you are thinking that he is the authorized person of to access that information, and but because of some reason, because of he wants to steal some data, or some data theft needs to be happen, or some as espionage. So espionage is something which is spying on something. For example, if I want to know something about you, and we are colleagues in an organization, but you are not sharing that information because there is a security policy of that organization. But what I'll do is by some other source, because I have an access to your system and we are sharing this
Mhm.
common systems in an organization. So I am spying on your data, so that later on I can harm you, and I can benefit myself, or something like that, or deliberately destroying some information of yours or your image maybe. And there may be the reason of general malice also, right? So these are the internal threats. Then what about the external then? External are the malware attacks. As we have discussed, the system based attack, virus, worms, trojans, and then social engineering, eavesdropping, password cracking, and denial of service. So these are all the external attacks which can happen from outside the organization. And this kind of things are happening. So internal is from the internal body, and external is from outside organization, right? There may be several reasons for all of them.
Yes, ma'am. So, as we were talking about internal and external threats, one of the most trending things nowadays or in recent years has been dark web. And similar has been a question from Shubhi ma'am asking that please discuss something about dark web.
Yeah. So this is because we think whenever whatever we are googling, or we are doing the Google thing, then we have available with all of the information of the world, right? We think we call it as World Wide Web, right? But this is, if I'll say, it is only 20% information which the internet service provider tends to meant to, it is allowed to, through the government directives, to share it with you, right? So this is the iceberg, right? The small portion of iceberg is seen to you, and the larger portion is inside. So that is what is the overlay network, right? And whatever you are seeing is a very small part, and whatever inside that is very deep. So we call it as deep web. First of all, surface web, right? When whatever we are Google, we are doing the Google thing, and it is available to us, right? In YouTube videos, in the form of YouTube videos and otherwise, right? And then we deep dive inside it like the hackers do, and then we then it is called the deep web, right? And the last one is the dark web, where the sale of some what we call it as uh, the pornography, uh, the drugs, this kind of business can happen, are happening inside it, right? So that is what the dark web, which is not available to everyone, but that can be available with some of the tricks and some of the uh, efforts of the hackers, right? So that is what is the dark web. And the dark web needs to be handhold. That dark web needs to be, I mean, taken care of by with the cyber act, cyber law. And always we are in requirement of the ethical hackers. So ethical hackers are required to to control this kind of stuffs to happen, because otherwise it is happening around us and we are not even aware of this. We think that if we have protected our internet, then it is okay, it is okay, my child or my some subordinate is not able to access that information, but with some efforts he can do it. So that is what, inside the surface web there is a deep web, and inside that deep web also there is a dark web, right? So millions of regular internet users access the private database, such as the email inboxes. Also, somebody is seeing my email inbox. That is why I'm getting the advertisements or credit card accounts, advertisements or phone calls, right? And these kind of emails also in my email box. So how come I'm getting these kind of stuff? Because somebody is peeping into my account and I'm thinking that I have only that password, so that means it is not being shared with anyone. But sometimes the service provider, only because of some monetary gain, they share that information and they sell that information to earn some profit out of it. So approximately 90% of all the websites are on the deep web, and many are used by the entities such as corporates, government agencies, and non-profit organizations. Like the military are even the military people are also using that information to check some information out of it, right? So this kind of, when which is not accessible to general public, is inside that. So there are three parts of the web. So I hope I have given you the insight about it. So deep web is 90% of the total internet source, and dark web is somewhere around 5% of the internet content.
Surely, ma'am. And luckily enough, you are also one of the ethical hackers, and you have been helping people around to be safeguarded from the dark web.
Yes.
Ma'am, as we know that we are moving at a stable pace towards cyber security, but just a basic hunch that how would be a world without cyber security? Like, what would happen if there is no cyber security in the world?
See, I'll give you some scenarios. See, 93%, around 93% or more than 95% of cases, hackers took just a minute to breach. Just a minute to breach the security. And while the companies took weeks or months to discover. So we know that if this kind of stuffs are happening around us, we are in need of crucial cybersecurity. And world without cybersecurity will be a huge loss for the nation, for the particular country or state or the organization. And 95% of the web attacks are financially motivated. So if somebody is doing the financial, because of the financial gain, they are accessing some information and they are asking, show me the money, then you have to do it because you don't have another option. And sometimes we don't even know when the crime has happened with us, to whom to report, right? And who will be my first point of contact? We go to the police station, and police station people says that it is not in our territory, or it is not coming inside our periphery, right? So this is what is uh, the challenge. And the lost assets are 100 times more prevalent than the theft. That means if the employee is doing some mistake, then nobody will come to know unless and until there will be a huge loss, and that loss is visible because it is happening, and employees are also not deliberately doing it, but because he is not aware of the cybersecurity, he has not been aware, not been made aware of these kind of session, have not been conducted thanks to Atharva Institute, that they are conducting this kind of awareness program, so that the general people will see to it, will listen to it, and they will be, I mean, careful about this. So nearly 30% of the they are opening the phishing emails. When the phishing email come into my account, because I have done the CEH and I have studied these kind of stuff, so I may not go and click on this kind of emails. But sometimes if the email looks attractive, people click on that. So this kind of the awareness has to be there. So simple mistake and costly losses is there if the world is without cybersecurity, I must say.
Surely, ma'am. So, ma'am, before moving ahead, I guess Hemant Shah has mentioned something that I think, how can a normal person access to dark web? I guess Hemant, that is illegal, and if you ask something, you might end up in jail. So better we not go into that area. So there's also one more comment. There are a few more comments from Shubhi ma'am saying that yes, information is always leaked to many through applications, also on the day-to-day applications which we use. And also, country will collapse if cyber security is not there. System would crash, and definitely it's a concern of a national security, ma'am. So
Right.
when you talk about these different types of threats happening around, different types of attacks going around dark web and everything, what is the prevention mechanism? What are the security policies? What are the different things that are available for the victim basically, or what can people do to avoid them?
Yes, this is a very relevant question in today's scenario. So there should be always the awareness sessions for the students. We should always start from the students when we are conducting this kind of stuff, because they are going to work in the industry later on. They are going to be placed in an organization, so they will be safe. Then, if they're trained prior to that, and when we are training on the coding part to the students, we will always go for secure coding mechanisms, right? When they're coding their system and they're developing the software, that software itself should be secure enough, right? When the coding is happening, then the coding should be secure enough, right? Then when we talk about the prevention mechanisms, there should be security policies, which are formal set of rules which is issued by some organization to ensure that the user who has the authorized access and of the company technology and information asset, and will be complied to rules and guidelines related to the security and information. So there should always be a security policy written as per the particular country, right? For example, for India something is not allowed, and for other countries it is allowed, right? So security policies are always based on the geographical and political background and nature of the nation, right? So security policy is also considered as the living document, and which needs to be updated. It is never finished, because it is continuously updated as the requirement of the technology and employee changes, right? So that the security policy needs to be updated, and we use the security policy to manage our network security, and most type of security policies are automatically created during the installation, and we can also customize the policies to suit our specific environment of the organization. So it is not that every uh, cloth is fitting to everyone, right? So that there should be different shapes and sizes according to the and customized policies according to the requirement of an organization. For example, किसी बनिए की दुकान के लिए हमें कोई security नहीं चाहिए, but for the financial institution we require the security. It is very crucial for the organization, right? So the security policies should be made and formally set, and it should be documented. It should be timely updated. So that is what is. the prevention mechanism, the first prevention mechanism, and the training should happen time to time to the for the employees, for the end users, for the stakeholders, for all the stakeholders of the organization. This kind of awareness program should happen.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, we have heard about brute force attack, but we don't know much about it. So, what is actually a brute force attack, and how can you prevent it? Like, what are the safety measures we should take before being attacked?
Very relevant question, though many people don't know about this term, but they should be aware of what is the prevention mechanism of this. So brute force is nothing but brute force the way to finding out the right credentials by repetitively trying out all the permutation and combination of possible credentials, right? If say for example it is only alphabetic, so 26 alphabets are there. So factorial 26 will be the chances in which I will try all the permutation and combinations, and then I can guess the possible credentials. So in the most cases, brute force attacks are automated when the tool or the software automatically tries to log in with a list of the credentials. And there are various ways to prevent the brute force attack. Even when I am teaching the cryptography, we just program it is a 10-line programs only through which the brute force attack can take place. So the graduate student, the postgraduate students themselves are doing the brute force attack. So how to prevent it then? It is very easy to happen, right? But how to prevent it? First of all, there should be a specific password length, because then the permutation and combination will increase in numbers, right? And for that, the normal computer will not work. So password length should always be like 128 bits or 512 bits or 1024 bits, like that. So backside, right? So password length should always be minimum length of the password, for example 8 characters, 10 characters, like. And the lengthier the password, the harder it to find. Then comes your password complexity, right? So there are the different the formats of the characters in the password, and it makes the brute force attack harder. Like the alphanumeric passwords and are harder to crack if we compare it with the only alphabets, right? And it is even harder if we are including the special character also inside it. And then it is even harder when we are including the capital letter and the small letter combination, right? Because 26 into 26, then 9 multiplied by special number of characters. So this will be my factorial then. From 26 to it is increasing by a greater extent. So this is how we are increasing the password complexity and making it difficult to be cracked. And then we should always limiting the login attempts. For example, if I am typing my password wrong, right? So if I can type my password wrong 3 times, not more than that, right? So it should always be 3 times, otherwise it will be logged. The profile will be logged for 24 hours or something, right? So it's set at a limit of login failures. For example, if you have set the limit of login failures to 3, so where there are 3 consecutive login failures, it restricts the user from logging in for some time and send an email or OTP to the user for the next time, because the brute force is automated process and it is limiting the login attempts will break the brute force process. So these are the security measures, and this is what is the brute force attacks. I hope I have made this clear to you.
Sure, ma'am. You have definitely given us a very good idea, and you have explained in such a simple word that even a layman could understand what basically these different types of attacks are. So, ma'am, there are some if we talk about cyber security, information security, the discussion would be incomplete if we don't put scenarios in that, and especially when a person like you is with us, I would definitely like you to give some scenarios so that we can understand what we should do. So the very first scenario which comes to our mind is if there is a friend of mine who sends an e-card on my mail, and we have to click on the attachment to get that card. So what are the different types of risk? There many times it happens that a friend says that he has received a particular gift card or something like that, and he sends us on a mail and says that you can click on that and you can get it. So what are the different kinds of risk for you in that thing?
So there are few risks when your friend is sending you the e-card on your email, because he must have made it by using some online software or something, right? So that attachment may be malicious. So sometimes some attachment contains viruses or other malicious program. So just in general, it is risky to open the unknown or unsolicited attachments, right? And also in some cases, just by clicking on the malicious link, it can infect the computers. So unless you are sure that the link is safe, you should not click it at the first instance. And email addresses can be faked also, as I told you before some time, that the email id, for example, I have written my email id as Devarshi Pallavi dot Bhatt something something, right? And I have just made one change in my email address. uh, um, in place of e I'm using I, or in place of e I'm using a. So you will not even notice it, because it is looking a very similar kind of email address, right? So you have received that email and you know me, so you will click on that particular link from which you have received it, because you think that Devarshi Pallavi ma'am has sent me this email address, right? So in that impression, you should not click on that email. You should always check for the entire spelling of that email address and be sure about it. And finally, some websites and link look legitimate, but they are really hoax designed to steal your information. So you should always be careful about it. And these are the risks when your friend has sent you some card through the email attachment. You should be careful, and then you can click on it if you're sure about it.
Sure, ma'am. I have another scenario. If in our computing labs, print billing is often tied to the user's login. So sometimes people call to complain about bills for printing they never did, only to find out that the bills are indeed correct. So what do you infer from this situation? Can you please justify?
Say sometimes they realize that they're loaned their account to a friend who could not remember his or her password, and the friend did the printing, right? So thus the charges, it is also possible that somebody came in behind them and used their account. Because for example, if I am just leaving my computer and I am asking you to put it, do your stuff for some time, because I trust you and you are my close friend, right? And you also left, and you have just left that computer unattended and without locking it. So this is an issue with the shared or public computers in general. If you don't log out of the computer properly, and when you leave, somebody else is coming behind you and retrieve what you were using, you were doing, using your account, etc. So always log out your account. And for example, if somebody is mailing from your account to your principal or to your senior, and it is very inappropriate mail, then with the elements of security, we have talked about the non repudiation. You cannot deny also, because it has been sent from your account. So you have to prove that it has not been sent by you, because it is your mistake that you have given your account to somebody else. So you have to take the responsibility of that, whatever has happened behind you with using your account. So always log out of all of your account, quit your programs, and then close the browser window without you walk away from your system.
Surely, ma'am. So, ma'am, those were very two good scenarios, ma'am. There is one more scenario which comes into my mind, basically related to banks, because most of the frauds are being done with your bank accounts, because वहीं पे सारा पैसा है. So, bank account is targeted most of the time. So, there are two different offices on campus which are working to straighten out an error in an employee's bank account due to direct deposit mistake. So there is this Office 1 which emails the correct account and deposit information to Office 2, which promptly fix the problem. But the employee confirms with the bank that everything has indeed been straightened out. So what is wrong over here then, ma'am?
See, if I'm not wrong, the you are saying that two different offices are there,
Yes, yes.
and from office one, the
Hmm.
email, the one email is going and to office two, and which promptly fixes the problem, right? So accounts and deposit information is sensitive data, right? And that could be used to identify identity theft. So that is one kind of theft which is the identity theft. If I'm stealing your information, which is showing that I am Shivang, right? And somebody else will trust me that I'm Shivang because I have your credentials. So that is what is, I have theft your identity. And sending this of any kind of sensitive information by email is very risky, because email is typically not private or secure, right? Anyone who knows how to access it, anyone along with the root, and anyone knows your password and ID can use it, right? And there will not be any authenticity apart from user ID and password to know that whether it has been sent by you or not. So as an alternative, the two offices could have called each other, worked with ITAs to send the information in a more secure way. It is not that through the email you can send the question paper, and through email you can send the sensitive information. You should never do it, right? You should always use some other software or some specially designed the portals to share this kind of sensitive information when you are sure that that cannot be compromised, right? So email is not a very good source to share your credentials like credit card numbers, passwords, etc. You should not do it.
Sure, ma'am. There is this case of my friend. She used her Yahoo account at a computer lab on the campus. She ensured that her account was not left open before she left the lab. Someone came after her and used the same browser to reaccess her account, and they started sending emails from it. So, what do you think she might be wrong here? What did she do wrong? Like she logged out of the account, but still someone hacked the account. So what wrong went here?
See, the first person of your friend probably did not log out of our account first at the first instant. Sometimes it is prompting us to save the password, right? And we click on it, right? And we close the window and we think that we have logged out. So it is not logged out because your password is saved, right? So it could just go to the history and access our account. In that case, you have closed the window, you will again open the browser and again access from the history, right? Another possibility is that she did not log out. She did the log out but did not clear her cache. So web cache memory is there, and that is there you may have your passwords and IDs saved, right? Or it may be in the encrypted form, but then also that can be compromised. So you should always clear your web cache also when you are sharing, you are working on the shared computers. So this is done through the browser menu to clear the pages that you have browsed and has saved for the future use. So you should always clear when you're using the shared devices.
Sure, ma'am. So also there is one more scenario, as you previously mentioned that there is emails are not reliable source. Actually, emails are not reliable things because it can get leaked easily. So in the case of thing wherein you receive an email from bank telling you that there is a problem with your account, and the email provides you with the instruction of the link so that you can log into your account and fix the problem. So I guess it will be again a similar scenario wherein you must not trust the email, because it might lead on to leaking out your credentials, your ATM and CVV pin and etc. And it might be a problematic for you. So moving ahead, ma'am, getting a hands-on experience on experience on what different types of scenarios are. If we talk about careers like security careers, what a person can definitely you have made out a career out of security and cyber security, ma'am. So I'd request you to put some light on that, how a person can make a career out of this cyber security and information security, ma'am.
Yes, definitely. There are many certifications which are globally recognized. Like the EC Council is one of them, and we in Manipal University Jaipur has a MOU with them that they are providing the in very substantial discounts to our students, so that they can learn and they can make career in cybersecurity field, because there is a huge demand. There is a very huge demand and supply gap, which is not there in any other field, as far as I understand, because there is unemployability. The employees are available, but the job is not available. But here the case is just reverse. The job is available, but the employees, the trained and learned employees are not available, or candidates are not available. So you can make the security career by learning the hands-on, getting the hands-on experience by doing this internships in some good organizations which are providing the cybersecurity internships. And also you can go for some globally recognized certifications, like I told you, this CompTIA or EC Council or some government recognized auditors certifications. Then you can become the security analyst, security architect, security engineer, the CISO, that means the Chief Information Security Officers, even malware analyst, security architect, security consultant, software developer. Like software developer we have heard about, but nowadays the term is coming like developers, secure software developer. Then incident responder, when incident has happened, cyber crime has happened, then you can be, by certifying yourself, you can be the incident responder also. So the cybersecurity unemployment rate is 0% from 2011. So there is no job is there, there is no employee who is, or who, no candidate who is trained and who knows the in and out of the cybersecurity, and he is unemployed. So it is not that, it is 0%. Unemployment rate for the cybersecurity is 0%. No matter how much you crunch the number, there is a huge need for the cybersecurity workers over the next decade. And we have witnessed in the past 2 years, when the COVID-19 surge has came around and disturbed everything. But then also we have adapted being online and being connected, like this time also, and we are doing the this talk show and a chat show through the video conferencing. So out of 3.5 million open cybersecurity positions are expected by 2021 end. So this kind of huge demand is there, right? So the cybersecurity is not alone in the labor crunch, although it is one of the hardest with the STEM field. So between 2017 and 2027, this will go like anything, and 4 million jobs will are available in US, and they are went unfilled. You will not believe this figure, but this is said and this has been studied by many of the organization, and this is not my statements only, but this has come out of studies. So this is how the cybersecurity career is very attractive and very promising.
Sure, ma'am. As we all know that uh, from the COVID pandemic, everything has shifted from offline to online, and you too mentioned just now that we are still connected through video conferencing and conducting this session. So obviously, this has increased the online traffic of everywhere, every site, every company, every college. So how has this pandemic affected the cyber security and the cyber attacks?
Very relevant question. And one of my student is writing a research paper in before and after COVID-19 and cyber crimes effect on before COVID-19, during COVID-19, and after COVID-19. So cyber crime is up 1600% due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This is being studied by the Purple Sec. And the remote work has increased by average cost of the data breach by around $137,000. And this is a study of IBM. And more than a 500,000 Zoom users account were compromised and sold out on the dark web. As Dr. Shubi has rightly asked, what is dark web and how to access that, one of the student has asked. So I will suggest the student to gain some knowledge to access the dark web through the ethical hacking thing, not through the unethical hacking, right? Because there is a thin line between the criminal and the ethical hacker, right? So that thin line, we should always be on the side of the ethical thing, right? So more than 500,000 of Zoom accounts were compromised. So this was the impact. This kind of impact has happened post pandemic, and going around us, because we have shifted from the physical world to the cyber world entirely, almost entirely. So that is why we need to take care of the security aspects of the same, and it's very crucial nowadays.
Ma'am, as you mentioned, we were discussing about dark web, and you mentioned about ethical hacking. Definitely, there are as there is this dark web, and there is the normal one which you're working. There are different types of hackers also. There is gray hat hacker, white hat, black hat hacker. So, what are these different types of hackers, ma'am? And you being an ethical hacker, ma'am, I would request you to tell us: are you a white hat hacker or a gray hat hacker?
Okay. So first of all, what is black hat hacker? And they are known as that they're breaking the computer networks, and they can write the malwares, and which can be used to gain access of the system. So they are writing the malwares, right? They're not finding out something which is going wrong in the system, but they are doing the wrong to the system. And this type of hackers misuse their skill to steal the information or to use the hacked system for the malicious purposes, right? So they are the black hat hackers. Just give me a moment, there is a noise around me. Yeah. So the other another one is white hat hacker. So black hat is what, who the hackers who misuse their skills to steal the information, and white hat hackers use their powers for the good deeds, and so they are called the ethical hackers, right? So that is what is myself is. And they are mostly hired by the companies as a security specialist that attempt to find and fix the vulnerabilities and security holes in the systems, and they use their skills to help make the security better, right? And then anonymity is just a simple word in ethical hacking and cybersecurity. If you're interested in this domain, then you can just go ahead and find out the ethical hacker certifications. So that is what is a black hat and white hat hackers, right? Now, what is gray hat hacker? So gray hat hacker are the amalgamation of white hat and the black hat one. They are mix of the white hat and black hat, and they look for such system vulnerabilities without the owner's permissions, like bug bounties. You must have heard about the bug bounties. So bug bounties are happening, and the companies are open, just they some people are trying to find out the vulnerabilities in the organization's website, and then they are asking for some money, or they are just checking that their skills. So they are the combination of black and white hat, and they look for some system vulnerabilities without the owner's permission. And if they find any vulnerabilities, they report to the owner. And unlike the black hacker, they do not exploit the vulnerability, but they find out the vulnerability and then inform the owner. So they are also in the good books of the secure this domain, right? So gray hat is all they are also, but they do it without the permission of the hacker or the organization. So you should always try to become the white hat one, right? And if the organization permits you, then only search for the vulnerabilities of that organizations with the owner's permission. Okay, so that is what is.
Sure, ma'am. So, ma'am, as we majorly talk about hacking and being addicted to computer programming and just bugging around each other's network, it is majorly considered as a male-dominated field wherein एक लड़का बैठ के computer के सामने बैठा है. Like even if you see in any of the movies, series, or in the social life also, the most of the time it's like a person who's a guy who's a male gender majorly dominates this field as being shown by them, though it's not true. So I would like you to like you yourself being a female, ma'am, I would request you to put some light on how major impact a female has in this field, or what are their achievements majorly.
Very relevant question, and very very much needed for today's scenario, when people think that this is not a job of the women, and they discriminate between men and women about the security. Like the pilot thing was not for male prior, for the fighter planes, I'm asking. But before some years, that was open for the females also, right? So is the cyber world. So women know about cyber. We need more of them in the cybersecurity industry. Their talents, their contributions are essential for the well-being and safety of the world, because they are more concerned about the well-being and the safety of the world, if I'm not exaggerating it. So 20% of the Fortune 500 global CIOs are now women, for your information. The largest percentage ever, 20% of the Fortune 500 global CIOs. Then 91% of the women in the cybersecurity have a bachelor's degree. 91%. Only they are graduate and they are the security experts. And around 20 to 25% of them are MBA, which you are pursuing probably, or master's degree. And 5% only have PhD like me, and 2% have no degree at all, but they know everything about cybersecurity. So women are very much into it, and women are doing well in this industry, and they are growing. So this is the industry for women. It is as it is for the men, right? So it is the win-win situation for both of them.
Very true, ma'am. Ma'am, there is a word, port scanning. Can you throw some light on what is port scanning?
Yeah, definitely. So port scanning is nothing but it is a technique. In when we talk about the OSI model, you some of the viewers must be listening to me, and they must be aware about OSI model. So OSI is a layered architecture. So first layer is physical, then your data link layer, then network layer, and then the transport layer comes. So when we talk about the transport layer, there are port numbers. In network layer, we have IP numbers, IP addresses. In data link layer, we have the MAC addresses, and in the transport layer, we have the port numbers. So port scanning is a technique used to identify open ports and services available on the host. And hackers use the port scanning to find out the information that can be helpful to exploit the vulnerabilities, right? So it is like somebody wants to get inside my house, so they are looking for the loopholes. So loopholes will be ports, right? From the ports, legitimate data is also, the authorized data is also coming inside and going outside, and the unauthorized can also come. So we need to be take care of installing the firewalls into it, right? So that we can scan the ports and we can scan the information. So port scanning is the trying the find out the information that can be helpful to exploit the vulnerabilities. So some of the some there are some techniques of port scanning, which are ping scan, then TCP half open, TCP connect, UDP. So that will be more technical part if I'll go into detail of that. So let us understand that this belongs to transport layer, and there are some port numbers. So for HTTP, there is a different port number. For HTTPS, there is a different port number. So that means the data which is coming from HTTPS will go into that port, and go inside my computer and go outside of computer from that port. So if I want to see that or see the vulnerabilities in HTTPS data, then I'll go to that port and I'll scan that. So this is how it works.
Sure, ma'am. I have heard about active and passive attacks when I was studying, and as a person who don't have much knowledge in cyber security, I just know that active and passive attacks are direct and indirect attacks in some way. So, can you just explain a bit what in detail that what are active and passive attacks?
Surely. It is very simple. See, active is what when the victim is aware of that the attack has taken place, right? When there is a made that the attacker has made some change in their data, in their information, so they came to know that attack has happened. So that is active, right? And what is passive? Somebody is seeing my data and doing nothing against my data. So I'll not come to know whether my data is visible to them or not, but they can use it later on and to make their own benefits out of it. right? So that is the passive attack, when the victim is not aware that my data is being compromised. And active is when the victim is aware that their data is being compromised. So this is what is active and passive attack, nothing else.
Surely, ma'am. Thank you so much for that explanation, ma'am. So, moving ahead with one more question that is trending recently again, as taking back to dark web thing. So, dark web has been something which has been very much into talks, and people for dark web, people majorly do for the money thing, and especially because dark web is not legal, people can't take currencies from the person who's trying to bribe them or wants to do something which an uh, unethical hacker has to do. So they majorly pay by cryptocurrencies or various types of payments are being done. So I would request you to put some light on what basically ransomware and cryptocurrency is.
Okay, ransomware attack, right? So ransomware attack, we have heard about it many a times, and it was very scary, and it has harmed many countries in many ways, right? And there was a huge loss. So ransomware works by encryption. So they encrypt the user's file through some asymmetric cryptographic methods or encryption methods. And ransomware is the malicious software and also known as the malware. So that is why we call it as a ransomware. So right, so it is a combination of malware. So from software they have picked out where, and ransom, we all know the money in return of some demand of mine, right? So ransomware works by attacking a user's computer or device, and then prevent them from accessing their files by encrypting them. For example, it is my file and somebody has encrypted it, and I don't know the key because it is the asymmetric encryption mechanism. And to know the key, and that is very crucial information. It is not personal information of mine only, but there was the organizational information. Entire organization and information has been encrypted, and then they are demanding some huge amount in the form of money, economic gains, and then only they will provide them the key, otherwise they will delete the entire data, right? So that is what is the ransomware attack, and by using the cryptography they have used it. So this kind of message comes in front of you if you are the victim of, or an organization is the victim of the ransomware. Your personal file is encrypted by the CTB locker, and now your documents, photos, database, and other important files have been encrypted with a strong encryption and unique key generated by this computer, for this computer. And now you pay this in 96 hours or 72 hours you need to pay, otherwise that will be डिलीटेड. और वो कैसे लेंगे, वो क्रिप्टो करेंसी के थ्रू लेंगे. वहां पर एक लिंक दे देंगे आपको कि इतना अमाउंट आप क्रिप्टो करेंसी के थ्रू मुझे ट्रांसफर करो, बिकॉज क्रिप्टो करेंसी इज वेरी प्राइवेट. वहां पर ट्रांजैक्शन तो इंश्योर है कि ट्रांजैक्शन हुआ है, बट इट इज नॉट इंश्योर्ड किसने किया है, बिकॉज द आइडेंटिटी और द identity is hidden in when we doing the transaction through the cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is you are not aware, you are aware of the transaction, and there will be no tamper can happen to the transaction, but you will not come to know that who has cracked that, who has gained that amount out of it. So that is what is cryptography is a very critical part when we talk about the ransomware attack, because it is being done through the through the encryption mechanism. So I hope I have answered this.
Sure, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, and definitely this is something which also people has to be aware about. It's not only that cryptocurrency is something that because cryptocurrency is something which is very much in trending right now. Each and every person is wanting to go ahead with that particular thing. So ma'am, as majorly the questions are being done from related to information security, related to cyber security, and what those things are. I would request you to, because you yourself being a professor, you have students under you have students under you who have been working under a big projects. But also looking on the other side, there are students who are not pretty much aware about information technology, how the technology works. They're not so much into technology, and they're not much aware about how these kind of attacks happen on daily basis. And that's a major motive why we have kept this IT awareness program, wherein we tell them about. So, what would be your message to schools and to teachers and to organizations? What should they do? What are the workshops or what things they can do to bring in more awareness amongst the students and also among the staff? Because it's not always the students, but also staff. Staff are more. You can say more exposed towards the attacks, because they are the one who can get attacked easily, because they are the one who are majorly handling the major information about the college. And if we talk about for students, how about they keep their data safe, and what colleges should do to increase the awareness?
Very relevant questions. As I told you, at the first instance, only the students are the first point of contact and first point of they should be aware of the cybersecurity. They should be made aware of the cybersecurity, especially in higher studies. Obviously, in school studies, yes, for the higher classes, for example, 11th, 12th classes, you should always train them, because they are going to go into college, and they are also they have their personal laptops, gadgets, mobile phones, etc. So they should be trained. They should at least make them uh, uh, available, and they should ask to attend some kind of sessions, so that they'll be available. Because by mistake sometimes they do the crime also, because of some gain, because of some attraction, because they are not aware that what will be the application or what will be the complications of this, right? So they should always be made aware about the cyber law. They should always be made aware about the safety measures they should take. So this kind of awareness program should, and there should be some portion of the cybersecurity should be included in their curriculum as well. So and nowadays the government is doing that also. So from the school itself, there should be some portion in the computers, as the computers is included in the school's curriculum. Then the cybersecurity part also should be included in the curriculum of the students. And for the higher studies, there should always be some training sessions, some hands-on sessions should happen, awareness sessions should happen. And for the organizations, there should be training sessions, awareness sessions to happen, should happen for the employees, even for the stakeholders, for the customers as well. For example, if I am the customer of my of a bank, of a particular bank, so by compromising my data, by doing the harm to my own credentials, by sharing them, that will lead to the harm to the goodwill of the bank also. If some crime has happened with me, that will be in the newspaper and that will be in the social media and something, then the bank reputation will go on loss, right? So they should always conduct these kind of session for their stakeholders, all the stakeholders, for their customers as well. And for the institutions, they should conduct for their parents, for the students, for the third party, etc. So these kind of sessions should happen at the first instance. And then if somebody wants to make the career out of it, then they can always go ahead and do the certifications and do the training part hands on. And then they can start searching for the job, and that will very easily available job if you have the skills set.
Surely, ma'am. So, ma'am, I guess we are done with our questions for today.
Thank
Uh,
you.
and majorly, you have shared your small part of knowledge. I won't say a large part, because this is just a tiny bit of thing which you do on your daily basis, ma'am. So, and now I would request Sneha to proceed with the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shivang. Firstly, I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. Devarshi Pallavi Bhatt, for taking out time from her busy schedule and providing us with this amazing and very informative session. I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to Sri Sunil Rane, Executive President, Atharva Group, for providing us various platforms like this one for interaction. Ms. Varsha Rane ma'am, Ms. Pallavi Rane, Trustee Atharva Group, Dr. R.G. Ratnawat, Director AIMS, for giving us such a great platform to interact with people and help enhance our knowledge, and also guiding us in all the events and giving his knowledge to bring the best from us. Dr. Shubhilal Agarwal, Director IQAC AIMS, for connecting us to intellectual capital across the globe and helping us gain so much of knowledge. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the torch bearers, our student coordinators, Mr. Piyush Chaudhary for designing flyers and helping in digital marketing, and Mr. Shivang Sharma for coordinating and hosting the show. Without their help and support, this event wouldn't have been possible. Their hard work and willingness to give one and all a pleasant experience has made this program a grand success. We wish to see you all in the next episode of IT Talks with the same enthusiasm. Thank you and have a nice day.
So
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much, ma'am.
much for being such a wonderful host, both of you, and Shri Sunil Raneji and RG Ratnawatji, Varsha Raneji, Pallavi Raneji, and Dr. Shubhi Lal Agarwal, and who is the IQAC Director IQAC of AIMS, and both all the students, participants, listeners. So thank you so much, and wish you all the best.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much,
ma'am.
ma'am. And we'll be looking forward to have many more sessions with you and
Sure.
gain more and more of information from you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks so much.